I've just completed my translation of Daodejing, also known as the Book of Laozi, some time ago. And after chatting with some of the Redditors over at Daoism, I've decided to make a video talking about what I feel is a key theme of Daodejing, okay? Constant Dao, 常道. Okay, so let's go on. Okay, this is the first line in the first section of Daodejing. 道可道，非常道. So what does this mean? It's often interpreted as the Dao that can be spoken is not the constant Dao. Okay, or the Dao that can be told is not the constant Dao. It feels as if there's no way you can speak about Dao. Okay, but Dao is very rarely used to mean speak in pre-Qing dynasty texts. Okay, literally this is correct, but I feel it's unlikely. And such a translation also makes one wonder if the Dao spoken about in this text is the constant Dao or not. Because it seems like this text is talking about the constant Dao. If we go for a more literal translation, okay, Dao can Dao, not constant Dao. Okay, you can see the matching. Dao can Dao, not constant Dao. Then perhaps you can try to guess what does this first line mean. Okay, this is my own translation. The Dao that can be defined, named as Dao, is not a constant Dao. Or the Dao that can be named a specific type of Dao is not a constant Dao. So what is a specific type of Dao? And what exactly is Dao? Dao basically means way, like the way of governance or the guiding way. And to give you some background, okay, during late Zhou dynasty, which is the period of time when Laozi supposedly wrote this text, Daodejing, or this text also known as Laozi. Okay, during this late Zhou dynasty period, the old order was collapsing. Okay, this is the land of the Zhou dynasty. And people at the time were discussing and proposing different ways of governance, okay, to restore order, like what Confucius, or what we will call Kongzi, tried to do, okay, to restore the old order. And of course, there were people discussing different ways of governance to create a new order. So there were actually quite a number of ways of governance talked about during that period of time. Like for instance, in a conversation between Shangyang and the Qing king, okay, as we know, Qing Shi Huang, okay, Qing is the country or state which eventually took over from Zhou dynasty, okay, and this Qing king is of course not Qing Shi Huang, the king that united the land again, but it's one of his ancestors. So during the conversation between Shangyang and this Qing king, Shangyang actually mentioned King's Wei Dao, or we call Wang Dao, and hegemonist way, or hegemonist Dao, Chinese will call Ba Dao. Okay, Wang Dao is basically the sort of governance advocated by the Confucianists, the Rujia. Okay, the Confucianists are also called the Rujia. So they will advocate governing through the means of Ren and Yi, where 人 is some sort of benevolence or benevolent social love. 义 is righteousness. Okay, so you govern through benevolence and righteousness. This is called Wang Dao, the king's way. Then there's also mention of the hegemony's way, 霸道, which relies more on legal means and harsh punishment to coerce the people into conforming, okay, and to work hard to build up a strong military force. This is the hegemony's way, 霸道. Okay, so once you are strong and powerful, the people under you are united, you become powerful. So these are just a few of the many specific ways of governance proposed during late Zhou dynasty. So we come back to this first line, 道可道，非常道. So what Laozi seems to say in this first line is that these specific humanly ways of governance are not the constant way. These specific ways, Dao, are expedients, temporary measures like medicine to treat illness. Okay, they are not the constant way, the constant Dao. And so when the illness is gone, the medicine should also be withdrawn. The medicine is not meant to be permanent. It's not the constant way. It's not the constant Dao. And to insist on the medicine when the illness is gone will only create other illnesses. Okay, kind of like if you are ill, you go see the doctor, you get some medicine. So once you're cured, when your illness is gone, I don't think you should be taking the medicine anymore. Okay, if you just keep on taking this medicine, it will probably create other illnesses. And this is one of the problems that Zhou dynasty actually faced. Okay, like for instance, the Fengjian system employed to solve the initial problems. Okay, Fengjian basically means bestowal and build. Okay, it's a system, a decentralized system, which you can say is like a feudalistic aristocratic system, where different parts of the land are bestowed to different dukes to build it up and to maintain order. Okay, this is primarily because Zhou is actually a small state during the earlier Shang dynasty. And when they took over from Shang, what happened was they managed to attack the capital city of Shang dynasty, Chaoke at the time, successfully. They didn't really conquer all the lands of Shang dynasty. And the last Shang king committed suicide. So Zhou took over. But Zhou was actually just a small area. It had many allies to help the Zhou ruler, such that when they took over from Shang, the lands have to be bestowed to different of the allies to maintain order. And of course, there were remnants of many of the Shang nobles. So there were a lot of problems in uniting the land and keeping it peaceful and stable. So the Fengjian system was employed to actually maintain peace. So it's a highly decentralized system, feudalistic, aristocratic. And the different states that were bestowed to the dukes were largely not under the control of Zhou. And this system actually ended up causing big problems in late Zhou dynasty. Okay, when these countries or states started fighting against one another and undermining the authority of the central state of Zhou. So probably during the mid-Zhou dynasty, before spring-autumn period, there were probably about 100 plus states or countries. Then by the time we come to the end of spring-autumn period, or what we call the Warring States period, there were only 7. The rest were swallowed up by the more powerful states. And of course, during Warring States, eventually Qing was the one who conquered the whole land and took over as Qing dynasty. So again, this first line, 道可道，非常道. Dao can dao, not constant dao. So medicine is a temporary measure. It is not a constant dao or constant way. And to insist on the medicine when the illness is gone will only create other illnesses. So that is probably what we can understand by 道可道，非常道. So what is the constant dao? So this supposed conversation between Kongzi, or what we would call Confucius, and Laozi, okay, by the bank of a river might be helpful. Okay, it's not exactly sure what the source of this conversation was. There were many attributions to different conversations between so-called Kongzi and Laozi. Okay, and this is one of them. So Kongzi explains his concerns. I'm worried that should the great Tao be not moving or functioning, that benevolence and righteousness be not applied, there will be no end to the chaos of war, there will be no governance cure to the chaos in countries. Human life is short and temporary, yet I have no successful contribution to society and no useful service to the populace. This is why I'm lamenting or sighing here by the bank of the river. And hearing this, Laozi gave his reply. Laozi is the supposed author of Daodejing. Laozi says, heaven and earth have no human pushing, but move by themselves. Sun and moon have no human lighting or igniting them, but shine by themselves. The constellation of stars have no human arranging, but are in proper order by themselves. Birds and beasts have no human constructing, but are born by themselves. This is action, naturally as such by itself. It burdens not on human to act for them. Okay, so I think this part is important. It burdens not on human to act for them. As for humans, why they come to be born, come to be non-existent, come to rise in fame or glory, come to sink in disgrace or obscurity, it all has its pattern, naturally as such by itself too. It all has its own way or Tao, naturally as such by itself too. Accord to the natural pattern and walk, accord to the natural Tao and move. Countries will come to be governed by themselves. Humans will come to be correct or upright by themselves. What's the need then to indulge in propriety music, to advocate benevolence and righteousness? Okay, propriety music, what did I just do? Okay, propriety music is actually 礼乐. Propriety is like ritual or protocol, and it's usually accompanied by music. It's a set of code of conduct to govern the people. And this is what Kongzi or Confucius advocate in accompaniment to benevolence, which is Ren, and righteousness, Yi. These are the two virtues that the Confucianists advocate. But Laozi say, what's the need to indulge in them? To indulge in propriety music, to advocate benevolence and righteousness, is actually to deviate far from the original nature that's of human. Sounds kind of Zen. Just like someone striking the drum hard to seek those people who are fleeing away. The more booming the strike, the further the people flee away. Okay, this is the reply that Laozi says, the more booming the strike, boom, boom, very loudly. The further the people actually flee away. So we can sort of make use of that conversation to help us in understanding the first line, 道可道非常道. So what exactly is this constant Dao? It's probably a sort of natural order, pattern, regularity, a constant way that is lasting and which happens without human intervention. Just like the stars in the sky. Okay? Even probably before when there were humans around, there are already stars. Unlike the road here, which are built by humans, if humans are no longer around, eventually the roads will collapse, break up, disintegrate. Yeah. So it's not permanent as compared to what Lao Tzu feels is the constant Tao. So with regards to governance, specific human interventions are temporary ones, not constant Tao, like medicine to treat illness. And when the illness is gone, when there is natural governance, withdraw the medicine. And this natural governance, when the illness is gone, is the constant Tao. So if to look at the first section of Daodejing, we should perhaps stress on the idea of constant. Then in reading this first section, we will be able to appreciate just what it's trying to say. So the Tao that can be defined name as Tao is not the constant Tao, because the name that can become a defined name is not the definitive constant name. So non-being is named the origin, beginning of heaven and earth. This is different from some of the other translations, where they actually lump Wu Ming together to say that nameless is the origin, beginning of heaven and earth. But here I have actually changed it. It's actually, I feel the emphasis is on Wu, non-being. It's named the origin, beginning of heaven and earth. While being is named the mother source of 10,000 things. And that's the reason why I did so. Okay? So instead of combining Wu and Ming together, I actually emphasize on Wu and I emphasize on you, being. Okay, the reason is because of the next line. 故常, hence, or therefore. 常, as we know just now, is based on constant Dao, 常. So the emphasis is, hence constant is non-being's inclination in displaying, manifesting its subtlety, possibility, seedling. Constant is also being's inclination in displaying, manifesting the limit, boundary, and of its things. So what is constant is non-being, okay, inclining towards being, while being inclines towards the end of itself to become non-being. This is what is constant. And these two, being and non-being, are symmetrical equivalent, but emerge activate with different names. Okay, because the origin and beginning of heaven and earth is actually symmetrical or equivalent to the mother and source of 10,000 things. And symmetrical is considered dark. Dark upon dark, symmetry within symmetry, door to the multitude of subtleties, possibilities, seedlings. Okay, this is my translation of section 1 or chapter 1 of Daodejing. So the translation is actually from my book. You can read it for free at this site. Okay, thank you very much for your time. And if you have any questions on constant Tao or Daodejing, feel free to post a comment to this video. Thank you.